a trophy wife. It didn't work out too well. But that doesn't work out too well, I must tell you. A lot of trophy wives, doesn't work out. But it made him happy for a little while at least. But he found a new wife. He sold his little boat and he got a big yacht. He had one of the biggest yachts anywhere in the world. He moved for a time to Monte Carlo and he led the good life. And time went by and he got bored. And 15 years later, the company that he sold to called him and they said, the housing business is not for us. You have to understand, when Bill Levitt was hot, when he had momentum, he'd go to the job sites every night, he'd pick up every loose nail, he'd pick up every scrap of wood. If there was a bolt or a screw laying on the ground, he'd pick it up and he'd use it the next day in putting together a house.
Donald Trump isn't just dismantling our government and attacking our Constitution. He's also embarrassing our country every single day. It's humiliating that our stupidest citizen is our president. And I felt that especially today as Donald Trump delivered the commencement address at West Point. And it wasn't just humiliating because of what he said, but also because of what he was wearing. And not just for the people there, but for Melania Trump as well, who Donald Trump took a shot at in just a shocking moment during a rambling address. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into Donald Trump's commencement address at West Point, I want to start with the latest announcement he made about our military. This ridiculous clip right here.
The president will further honor our military next month on June 14th when he hosts the 250th anniversary of the United States Army with a grand military parade celebration right here in our nation's capital. President Trump will be joined by veterans, active duty troops, wounded warriors, Gold Star families, and patriotic Americans from across the country to celebrate our heroes who have kept us safe. Tickets for the parade and the celebration are available through the America 250 Commission's event registration portal. It will be a truly historic and special day for our country.
Of course, Trump and his entire administration, Carolyn Levitt, they're going to frame this as a military parade, honoring our troops, honoring our veterans, honoring our fallen heroes. But of course, we know Donald Trump doesn't care about those people. Those he views as suckers and losers. This is one big $100 million plus parade for Donald Trump's birthday. This is what dictators do. This is a military parade for Donald Trump. And it's especially gross considering how little he cares about our service members. He has no actual thought about how to protect them. It's kind of just all a joke to him, as we saw during his speech, which we're about to get into. But before we do, I want to check out the other big military announcement made by Donald Trump, which just shows how much of a joke this is.
Mr. President, add this to the long and growing list of promises made and promises kept. Ultimately, this right here, the Golden Dome for America, is a game changer. It's a generational investment in the security of America and Americans. Mr. President, you said we're going to secure our southern border and get 100% operational control after the previous administration allowed an invasion of people into our country. President Reagan 40 years ago cast the vision for it. The technology wasn't there. Now it is, and you're following through to say we will protect the homeland from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether they're conventional or nuclear. And it's not lost on me, sir, also that you had the vision to start the Space Force. And here we are, when the others said we didn't need it, here we are in the Oval Office with one of the leaders of the Space Force in General Gutlein leading the charge on putting in place a game-changing Golden Dome for America. So, sir, it's an honor to be a part of this bold initiative. We're going to get to work on it. And we have been since you signed that executive order on January 27th. We've been fast forward on this. But we're here on this day, and this is just one stop in delivering this defense of the homeland. which is something you've charged us with doing, and we'll keep going until it is complete, sir.
Thank you, Pete. Pete's doing a great job, by the way. Thank you very much.
He clearly saw this in a movie. I think someone said he saw this in an episode of The Simpsons. And that's kind of the Trump presidency. It's the TV president, both in his behavior and the idiotic ideas coming out of this administration, but it just shows how out of touch they are. And clearly, Donald Trump is as well, because during his commencement address, he just started rambling about nonsense. But one specific topic of wives came up, and yeah, he humiliated his own. Take a look.
Graduating today is Cadet Ricky McMahon, Ricky's great-grandfather. Stand up wherever you are, Ricky, because you're going to like this. Ricky's great-grandfather served in World War I. His grandfather served in World War II, and his uncle, father, and mother all graduated from West Point. Where's Ricky? In 2004, when Ricky was just a little tiny boy, who would think about that, Ricky, a little tiny boy? His dad, Lieutenant Colonel Michael McMahon, made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation in Afghanistan. Today, Lieutenant Colonel McMahon rests not far from here in the West Point Cemetery. Last year, 2 decades after losing his father, Ricky placed a gold chip from his dad's 1985 class ring into a crucible along 87 other rings were with it, of past West Point grads that were melted down to forge those now worn by the class of 2025. Do you all know that? Do you know that? What you're wearing? I want one. Ricky, I want one. Each of you will carry Michael's memory with you always as you continue the legacy he gave you, and gave you something that would be so proud. He would be so proud. He is proud as he looks down. To Ricky and his mom, Jeanette, you embody what this place is all about. And I know Michael, he's up there, he's smiling broadly, so proud. He's so proud of you today, you know that. And he's a man that couldn't be, and he is a man that couldn't be more proud. And I want to I just love that story. And everybody's ring, they're going to remember you, they're going to remember your family, and most importantly, you're going to remember a great tradition. It's a great tradition of West Point and of winners. Thank you very much. It's great to meet you. Thank you. You can sit down. You want to come up? If you want to come up, come up. Come on up. Come on up here. That's nice. You're a handsome guy. They're all good looking here. I don't know what's going on. The whole crowd is beautiful. Thank you very much. What a great,
I'd like to thank my mother, I'd like to thank my family, and I'd like to thank G3, Go Gophers.
These are good-looking people, I'll tell you, General. What's going on over here? Look like all a bunch of male models. I can't stand it.
So I don't even know how to begin to unpack that rambling mess. But we do have to start with the most important aspect. Trump talking about how sometimes trophy wives don't work out. It's like, could he be more obvious in what he's saying? We recently saw a report out of the New York Times talking about how uncomfortable everyone at the White House is with just how little Melania is there. It's a very sensitive topic. They won't talk about it. They won't address it. They won't even look at it. But Melania Trump is never at the White House. So clearly, Donald Trump is thinking about his own trophy wife, and she's going off in this speech. But can we also point out the fact that he's wearing a campaign hat as President of the United States at West Point, delivering their commencement address? How disrespectful. It's just gross. And again, This goes back to what we talked about in a previous video yesterday, how Carolyn Levitt said that Donald Trump got to attend his crypto scam dinner and his unofficial capacity, just his personal capacity. But I thought Donald Trump was, as every president is, while they're president, always president. And isn't that his legal theory behind immunity, right? If Donald Trump is in his personal capacity sometimes, then maybe he's committing crimes in his personal capacity and doesn't get to do whatever he wants. But that is a different story. There is no through line in terms of what is legal and what is not in this administration. They do whatever they want, and that includes with trophy wives. If you're a foreign trophy wife, you're happy to come in. But if you're a U.S. citizen, yeah, Donald Trump will probably deport you. Yeah, U.S. citizens, they're fine. Foreign trophy wives for Donald Trump and his rich buddies. No, they get to stay. It's ridiculous. And it was called out in a takedown of Marco Rubio, right here.
Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech? Is there a footnote that I missed somewhere?
There's no constitutional right to a student visa.
So, but is there a constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas every day all over the world.
Do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr.
while I have the authority, I will continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear this country.
You said that, Mr. Secretary. Let me reclaim my time because you are talking about revoking student visas based on what somebody says, and that means that you are trumping the legal supreme court, the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution of the United States.
No one has a right to a student visa.
Mr. Rubio, why did the administration need to use masked, armed, unidentified agents to whisk somebody off the street and deny her counsel for almost 24 hours after her arrest?
Well, you'll have to ask the agencies that did that work. I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for revoking the visas of these people that come to tear this country apart.
Secretary Rubio, I'm talking about this particular case where you revoked the student visa of a Turkish citizen who was a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that you didn't like, and suddenly you allowed for masked men to whisk her off the street. And you have multiple jobs, apparently. You're the national security advisor as well. So don't tell me it's not your job. Who snatches her off the street?
We don't do the snatching, but I can tell you we do the visa revocations.
Let me ask you about the national security consequences of people, masked men on the streets snatching people off the streets. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So you think that U.S. agents who have almost always gone without face coverings, even when they're arresting some of the country's most dangerous criminals, suddenly have so much to fear from a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that they need to be masked? Is that
that law student was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you revoked her student visa based on an op-ed which trumps the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up here to stir up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't do any of that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
she wrote an op-ed, and I'm talking to you about her particular case.
Claims and your claims. Those are not the facts.
Reclaiming my time, you revoked her student visa because she wrote an op-ed.
And we'll do more. We're going to do more.
I have another question for you. Would you revoke the visa of someone in the United States who published claims that, quote, Jews are an untrustworthy and dangerous group? Yes or no?
We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest who's here to stir up trouble.
Are you going to revoke the visa of somebody who made that?
I mean, the case, I'll look at it. I'm looking to get crazy people out of our country.
Actually, it's not just about revoking. You actually, Secretary Rubio, excuse me, reclaiming my time. Can you explain to me why the Trump administration granted refugee status to Charles Kleinhaus, the white Afrikaner who tweeted that exact statement that I just said? There's the case.
That's not a visa.
You who granted that person to enter the United States.
That's a totally different process. That's someone that applied here through a totally different process.
Secretary Rubio,
visas are a privilege.
Secretary
Rubio, we deny them all the time, and we'll revoke them. You revoked
a visa based on an op-ed, and then you allowed for masked men to snatch somebody off the street.
Your time's expired.
I know there is so much constantly to cover, but the fact that he is deporting citizens' children with cancer, I feel like I can't say this every time, but it feels like it should be the number one issue. There's so much that feels like it needs to be the number one issue, but we're going to try to talk about it all. We're not leaving anything on the table. We're calling them out every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.